Good morning. So, I want to talk about empathy as a superpower and the relationship between empathy and your ego. And so, I think that first I'll explain kind of what the ego is. Your empathy is above the ego because empathy is love. Love is the language of the universe, is the language of all. Everything in existence is pure love. It just is. Emotions that we attach to things are our own perception of things. It's our own baggage. It's what we attach to situations, to people, to um, outcomes, to circumstances. Our emotions are only within us. And the proof of this is all around us all the time. Let's say if we go to the supermarket and we're feeling like crap, somebody else that is right next to us can be completely in bliss. It's our own different perspective of things. We're both in the same space. We're both sharing the same exterior conditions at that moment. Yeah. But all of the emotions are attached to the story that is running in your mind at that moment. And so the emotions belong to the ego. And so I kind of feel like I want to explain what the ego is so that I can fully bring this concept, make this concept whole. Um, so the ego is the illusion that we are apart from. So we are divine beings. We are beings of a higher realm. We are spiritual beings. And we come down into this earth and given this avatar, this body that is made of the dirt of this place. And we are put into this shell, this exterior shell, and we are given this ego, which is the container, as you could see it as a pyramid. We're put into the ego is at the top of the pyramid, and our human body, our human experience, our physical body is at underneath. And at the top of the pyramid, we are connected to the all. We're connected to God, you could call it. Um, and we are given this ego so that we can have this human experience, so that we can um, have the illusion that we are separate from everything else, and we have our own identity. Our identity sits within this ego, and the ego is like the container of our personality. So when we're born, we are like a sponge. Our souls are put into these bodies. We have no knowledge, and the ego is what contains all the thoughts and all of the um, assumptions that we made, everything that we gather during this lifetime, our ability to think, to project in the future. We also have archetypes that sit within this ego, which is our structures of behavior. Um, we have our own nature that sits within this ego. It's our personality, everything that we believe that we are, all of our belief systems, all of the beliefs that others have taught us, all of our knowings that we have concluded and collected during our lives, our habits, our habitual ways of reacting to situations, our defense mechanisms, our offensives, everything that we believe to be true is sits within this ego, which is the illusion that I am separate from you, and that I am separate from everything else that is around me, because we're all part of this big one existence, and we are part of it. Think about it. Every single cell in our body is made up of substance that has already been here since the time, since before, before infinity. No, we are stardust. We hear that over and over and over, but we are literally stardust. We are made up of the very dust of stars that make up this. The proof in it is when you go and do a blood test, and what are they testing? They're testing iron and magnesium and all the different, yeah, we're made up of calcium, everything that you find in the stones and in the earth and in other animals. We're all part of it. We're a big recycled being, that our whole being. And so we are integrated, integral, and we are part of everything, inseparable. You cannot, it's just like an atom. When you try to split an atom and it makes a massive explosion, we are inseparable from this whole mishmash. We are always and consistently part of it. And so the ego is what allows us to feel like we're separate so that we can have this experience and we can collect information. And in collecting information, because the soul doesn't collect information, the soul is just in existence, just like the all is. It's just in existence. And everything wants to constantly and continuously expand. So, as we are containers of knowledge, as we are given these avatars and we're able to start collecting knowledge, then we are expanding the knowledge of the universe. We are expanding. As humanity, you can see it on all the different levels. As humanity, we have expanded. Look how much education and knowledge we have now that they didn't have 2,000 years ago. We've also lost sacred knowledge. But I'm just saying, with evolution, we have gained, we're driving around automobiles. I mean, 2,000 years ago, they would have seen an automobile. It would have looked like something that was zapped here out of outer space. We're flying around in little boxes in the air. We've learned aerodynamics. This is all information that we have collected. All of the information was always here. All we're doing is uncovering it and discovering it. So at the ego level, we are it's very small. The ego level is very small. It's me. I'm an individual. What can I get? That hurts me. What does that mean by me? It's all a give and take. It's all in relevance to me. So the whole world as I'm experiencing it when I'm asleep, before the spiritual awakening, everything is in relevance to me. What does that mean to me? If he said that, then that means this. And we have all these emotions that we attach to things. And our emotions are a guidance system, really. They're there to show us when we're on track and when we're off track, or they're there to bring us back to our center. Thing is, with emotions, and that's a big subject as well, our emotions can also deceive us because of the beliefs that we have attached. So sometimes if we have a false belief, and we get into a situation that triggers that false belief, then our emotions will guide us wrongly. We have to heal our emotions and our mind, and align our emotions and our mind together in perfect balance. And so it's really like marrying the two, emotions and mind, together. It's taking control over your emotions with your mind, and taking over control over your mind with your emotions. They kind of have to work together in perfect harmony. And there you can find that inner balance and that connection back to the all. Because until we are connected during this lifetime back to the all, then our emotions and our thoughts are going to be out of alignment with each other, and that will always cause us pain. When your thoughts are over here and your emotions think something different about it, there's always going to be a gap there, and there's always going to be pain. And so until your emotions and your mind are all aligned with the all, then there is always going to be gaps there, and there's always going to be a emotional distress or a discomfort, because your emotions are trying to guide you back to your connection to the all. So how does all of this connect with empathy? When you are able to feel empathy, you are rising into the level of love. You're rising above your own ego, because when you are feeling empathy for another being, it's like you're going out of your own psyche, you're going out of your own mind, and you're entering into their mind and looking at the world through their eyes. So it's kind of, empathy is like a portal out of your own ego up into the all, and then into connect with somebody else and be able to see the world through their eyes. And once you do that, you pass through pure love because you're completely overcoming yourself in that moment. In that moment, you are not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about what that other person is experiencing in this situation. You're putting yourself in their shoes. So it's actually being able to, and when you can do this with multiple people all in one situation, then it becomes like a superpower. First of all, you are overcoming your own ego, so it's self-mastery, right? You're also able, empathy is the ability to feel another's emotions and see another's perspective, right? That's mind and emotion, perspective and emotion. So it's a superpower because when you are able to overcome your own ego and your own and pass through love, because empathy is in love, right? It comes from the essence of love. Love is the language of the universe. So you're actually exiting your own avatar. You're going into another's avatar through the portal of the all. And you can see a situation in so many such a different variety of ways of seeing things. And so really you're gaining not only your own personal perspective, which you see as relevant in any case, it's always relevant, but you are able to see this person's perspective and that person's perspective and that person's perspective and that. And when you're able to do this on a mass level, then you are gaining not only your knowledge, but you're gaining all of the other knowledge as well. You also become a master healer because when you can go into another and feel their emotion and see their perspective, you can see where that alignment is within them because it's like you're visiting into their own psyche. When you can feel another's emotion and you can see what it is connected to, you can see where it is out of line or where it is misaligned. And that gives you a superpower. It gives you a superpower not only for your own experience, because once you can see other people's perspectives, then you can answer their need from your place in your own avatar, right? So if you're going into a business meeting and you can have empathy for the person that you're meeting with and see their perspective and see what they're trying, where it's touching them, what they're trying to gain, then it gives you an advantage. And not an advantage that I'm saying like taking advantage of somebody in a negative way, but I'm saying it gives you an advantage that you can see the business meeting in such a way that everybody can come out on top, not just coming in from my own perspective. I want to achieve this and this and this. You can come in and say, okay, what is the best outcome for all the parties involved? Because I can see this person's perspective and their emotion attached to it and where they're held up, and I can answer those needs. And I can see this person's and answer those needs. And so it gives you kind of like a superpower within your own life. And empathy, I made some notes this morning because it was coming through. So let me see. Empathy is above the ego. So empathy releases you of the ego. So when you are in an empathetic state with somebody else, you are not in your ego at all. You have I don't want to say overcome because we cannot have this human experience without our ego. Our ego is our ultimate tool. When we learn the power of our ego and when we take control over our ego, it means that we have come into control over ourselves. And that's something I want to add about the ego. The ego is like our ultimate, it's like the toolbox. It's like the ultimate, it's like the MacGyver knife for our life, right? It's like this toolbox that has all these different neat, magnificent tools in it that we get to go in and learn all these different tools and how to use them. And so it's like the toolbox for life is our ego. The thing is that a lot of times we go through our entire life or most of our life thinking that the ego is us. And so like my twin told me, the ego is a wonderful servant, but a horrible master. So if we think that we are our ego is going to be all over the place. Our ego is by nature wants to keep us alive and is greedy, right? By nature, it is holding us apart from the all and wanting us to receive from life, right? And by nature, it keeps us safe, right? It keeps us running from the tigers when the tigers come. It keeps us feeding ourselves because we don't want to starve. It keeps us trying to achieve things so it expands our lives. It keeps us with a roof over our heads because we want to keep ourselves safe, because we're considerate of ourselves, because we're kind of like greedy. But I don't mean greedy in a negative way. I mean greedy for our lives. We want to. It's what keeps us thinking that we're separate from the all and that we have to keep ourselves safe, right? Because if we knew all the time that we were part of everything, what's the difference if I go lay down in the mud and just kind of merge back with the mud? I'm part of the mud anyway, and in 100 years, what is the importance? In the 100 years, I'm going back anyway to the all. So what's the difference? So when you look back on history and you look back 100,000 years ago, there were people in existence that there is no memory of them in this world, no picture, no nothing. There is no physical memory. They have gone completely back into the dust, and you can look back and say, what was the importance? But as a collective, we are collecting knowledge and expanding humanity. So as a collective, they had a purpose, and they are our ancestors. They are those that we have come forth from. So we are always the living. It's like a tree, like an olive tree. It in the middle it dies, but its outer layers are the layers that are alive always, right? So it's constantly expanding. So the older the olive tree, and here in Israel, there's the olive trees that are like 2,000 years old. The whole middle of the olive tree is hollow. It's gone. And all that is left is like an outer shell that is like this around. And that is the outer layer of life, right? Just like we are at the forefront of life, and our generations that are coming after us are going to be the forefront when we fall away. So you can see it just like that. They had to have existed for, the middle of that tree. That tree had to be this big around at one point for the outer layers to have expanded 2,000 years later, right? So everything has a purpose, and everything, it's so layered, and everybody has a purpose, and everybody is pushing humanity forward. And when you look at the picture like that, it's a completely different scale that you're looking at. And so our ego is a good thing. It's what allows us to have this life experience, and what allows us to feel like we're separate than the all, and what allows us to expand individually, which expands the all, and which holds life. The ego is what holds life. If we didn't have the illusion that we were separate than all, then there wouldn't be a purpose for us holding up this existence and going out and trying to achieve things, because we're a part of everything anyway. It doesn't matter. We all belong here. We're all equally important, just as this plant is. I mean, I'm as equally important as the plant is. Okay, so make yourself remarkable. That was connected to something else. Empathy allows you to see others' perspectives. I talked about that. Empathy is a superpower. Definitely, it's a superpower. There's something about the pain that it was something else. Gratitude is self-fulfilling. Appreciation is a paradox. Okay, that's a different video. Love is stronger than the ego and over the ego. Ego and empathy, the relationship between. Okay, so that's what this video is about, the relationship between the ego and empathy, and how when you come into empathy, then you are rising above your ego. And so empathy is really a superpower. It also allows you to come out of ego. And it also allows you to see so much more perspective, and such a much larger picture. It also allows you to connect to others. It allows that connection. And our life experience really is all about our relationships. Our relationships is what makes life grand. If you think about it, all of our experience in life, if we don't have who to share it with, then it's almost like that tree in the forest. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, did it make a noise? And so it's kind of like that. And so when you really think about our life, if our relationships in our life are crappy, our life experience is crappy. If our relationships in our life are grand, then we perceive life as grand. So it's really all about love. It's really all about love. Love is the language of the universe. Um, so I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'm going to do another one, another video about gratitude and appreciation, and how it's kind of like a paradox and they're self-fulfilling each other. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you.